Where do Oklahoma and Texas fit in the SEC? Welcome to the Voice of College Football. Please like the video, share the videos out on social media, because if you enjoy the content, others will as well. And please subscribe right here at the Voice of College Football. All right, Oklahoma, Texas. When it was first proposed that those were the conversations and that they were serious and imminent, the SEC Network released a pod setup format of what the conference would look like in four-team pods with 16 teams, Oklahoma, Texas included. I understand the line of thinking there, but for the average college football fan, the average sports fan who doesn't watch this stuff on a daily basis, is not consumed with college football. They enjoy college football. They watch for a couple hours on Saturday. They want to be informed. They want to stay up on it. They want to understand the alignment and how a championship is determined. They're not going to understand that. It's too complicated. People are not used to, sports fans are not used to dealing with pods. Just too much to deal with, too much traffic, too much confusion. Do not go with the pod idea. All right, let's split into two 8-team divisions, and fortunately for the SEC, it works out pretty clean. Currently, of course, two 7-team divisions exist in the SEC, the East and the West, and geographically, it still can make sense. So stay with the geographic approach, SEC. Nothing crazy to deal with right here. Let's first look at what should be the SEC Western Division. Add Oklahoma and Texas. Keep Texas A&M, LSU, Arkansas, Mississippi State, and Ole Miss. Now we can finally move Missouri to where they belong geographically. Missouri, of course, joined the SEC in 2012. They were moved to the East Division because of balance of teams, with Mizzou and Texas A&M joining the same season. All right. So now Missouri can go back to its home of the SEC Western Division. The SEC East would add Alabama and Auburn. Otherwise, it's the rest of the division. Move Mizzou to the Western Division, and you've got Georgia, Florida, Kentucky, Tennessee, Vanderbilt, and South Carolina. This works out almost perfectly for the SEC because you keep all the rivalries intact. All the rivalries that you can think of that mean anything in the SEC are kept intact, and you actually move other rivalries together in the same division. So in the Western Division, Oklahoma, Texas together, Texas A&M, a game that college football fans have wanted to see for a long, long time, that used to be played on an annual basis in the Big 12, back together, Aggies and Horns on a yearly basis in the Western Division. In fact, involving Texas A&M, Mizzou, and the two additions from the Big 12. All the Big 12 teams, the former Big 12 teams, are together. So any kind of rivalries that you can think of involving those four teams, topped out by Texas A&M and Texas, and of course Texas, Oklahoma, those will be back in play, as does the Arkansas-LSU rivalry stays intact as well in the Western Division. Ole Miss, Mississippi State, everything's kept intact. This works out clean for the SEC. In the Eastern Division, you move the Iron Bowl from west to east. You're good there. Also, Auburn and Georgia, the South's oldest rivalry. They put them in the same division. This clears up some scheduling issues involving Auburn and Georgia having to be crossover rivals every year. Bama, Tennessee, the same thing. Bama and Tennessee have to be crossover rivals east to west. Now Alabama and Tennessee would be in the same division. That clears that up. All right, because of so many teams in the SEC now, 16, we've got to go to a 9-game schedule. That means every team plays all other 7 teams in their division. Then they play 2 teams in the other division each season. Okay, let's first of all do away with all the silly crossover games. Right now, Auburn should play Georgia every year. That's a cross-division rivalry that makes sense. LSU, Florida to a certain extent, and of course Alabama and Tennessee. Those 3 make sense. There is no reason to play these other cross-division games on a yearly basis. I cannot think of 2 schools, 2 football teams in the SEC that have little attachment as South Carolina and Texas A&M, but they are matched up to play every season. Texas A&M and South Carolina. Makes no sense. So over the course of 60 years, if this doesn't go through, In the course of the next 60 years, if nothing changes, Texas A&M and South Carolina will play 60 times. Texas A&M and Georgia will play 10 times. And all these other possible games between East and West. Makes no sense. Get rid of Ole Miss and Vandy, Kentucky, Mississippi State as well. All right. What it does allow is for scheduling flexibility to make the schedules more equitable. All right. One possible slight issue here is that SEC fans, college football fans, want to see Alabama and LSU play every year. They're now in separate divisions. Also, we've got the LSU-Florida factor because they play every year. We cannot lock down LSU to have to play Alabama and Florida every year in the other division. It's, number one, not fair. Number two, they wouldn't see the other teams in the SEC. Therefore, let's choose one at most. Also could probably look into the situation in terms of dissolving both of those rivalries and just going to a cross-division format. So this is what I think, is that the East and West play two non-division games each and every season. Okay, those games should be rotated, but there should be an eye toward a 500 composite schedule. If you've checked out my previous videos regarding conference scheduling, there are ways to devise schedules in which you are ensuring that you avoid unbalanced schedules, unbalanced competitively. Teams should not be facing the best teams in the other division while somebody else in their division that they're competing against for a championship are playing two of the worst teams in that division. You can't predict the future or the next season's results, but you can build a composite 500 schedule or something close to it, in this case, based on last season's results. All right, no pods, rivalries intact. It makes total sense geographically. The SEC falls into a good place with Oklahoma and Texas jumping on board. Your comments below right here at the Voice of College Football. We will see you soon with more on Oklahoma, Texas. We've got roster breakdowns, predictions are coming your way, and more right here at the Voice of College Football.